Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Megan Easley-Walsh, and this is History Stories. With a PhD in history, as an author, a writing consultant, and editor, my life is full of history and stories. With that in mind, this podcast's goal is to explore some of those stories of history. This will include diving into antiques and interesting historical artifacts that I've found, looking behind the scenes at inspiration for my novels, taking a peek at places I visited, and uncovering new topics of interest. Thank you for joining me. Let's begin. In episode 6, the VE Day episode, where we spoke about my novel Vow of Gold, I mentioned that another novel that is firmly set in World War II of mine is Framed. Today we're discussing that novel. Here's a bit about it. World War II Switzerland is neutral, but Anna isn't. Her mother's German, her friends are Jewish, and when she turns forger, she risks being framed. Anna Schmidt loves Germany and despises Hitler. The ruthless German dictator has banned much of the art that Anna adores. Picking up her paintbrush, she preserves stolen Jewish treasures by embarking on a mission of danger. Under the cover of darkness, Anna crosses the border into Germany and evades Nazis. Her paintings must fill one criterion: perfection. Anything less will capture the unwanted attention of the notorious Nazi examiner and risk Anna's life. When the frame maker arrives on the mountain, he has eyes only for Anna. Eyes that notice something is terribly wrong when Anna goes missing. Playing both sides of the border is a perilous game, one that Anna can't fail at, or everyone she loves in Germany and Switzerland face elimination. By now, I'm sure you've realized that art history is of particular interest to me. I've completed a World Art History certificate from Smithsonian Associates, and I've taken a number of classes from the V&A, the National Gallery in Dublin, and the National Gallery in London. In Framed, I wanted to write about an art forger who defied the Nazis. It felt like an interesting premise. I also wanted to explore this from a German angle. In Flight Before Dawn, my first novel, my characters live in occupied France. The Nazis are foreigners for them. Likewise, in Vow of Gold, the World War II portions of the story are told from inside of England, and with the inclusion of the American military. For Framed, I wanted to explore what it would feel like for someone who was familiar with Germany, who had German family, to see the horror sweep across a place that she loved and knew personally. For Anna, that made the war feel even more like a betrayal to everything that she loves. A few years ago, although after Framed was published, I visited a special exhibit in the National Gallery in Dublin. The exhibit featured work from approximately 45 artists ranging from Marc Chagall to Paul Klee to Max Beckmann to Franz Marc. This exhibit celebrated the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Bauhaus. In the words of the website information about the exhibit, quote, "The motto of the Bauhaus was to rethink the world through art and design." End quote. The Bauhaus was an art school and movement that aimed to develop complete art experiences, such as pairing designed furniture with architecture. It utilized geometric figures and primary colors. It was a new style for a new age. The Bauhaus epitomized the interwar years. It was founded by Walter Gropius in 1919, and it lasted until the Nazis put pressure on it to close in 1933, as Nazi power began to grow in Germany. I've shared before with you my idea that in a world often bent on destruction, art is a radical act of creation. One time this was particularly true was for the artists in opposition to Nazism and the ideas that it held. Under Nazism, specific art was targeted and banned. In Framed, Klimt is used as an artist to illustrate the targeting by the Nazis. Although Klimt himself was never banned, his art was confiscated from Jewish homes. Additionally, many of the works by artists that Klimt worked with, including his student Sheila, were banned. The narration, told primarily through Anna, thus references him as being banned rather than other artists, as Klimt is immediately evocative of the style and type of work that was banned. Klimt paintings were among those confiscated, and legal cases involving dispute between the heirs they were stolen from and the museums have carried into very recent years. The work that was banned and labeled as degenerate was assembled together. The idea was to create a museum in Linz, Austria. The museum never was built, but exhibitions of the work in Germany and in Austria did occur. In 1937, from the 19th of July to the 30th of November, the art was displayed in Munich. To be framed for something is, of course, to be wrongfully accused and presented as guilty. The creation of the art that was labeled degenerate should not have been considered a crime. Surely, though, stealing the art via confiscation, even more so stealing lives via rules that blocked whole groups of people from education, careers, and eventually the right to life itself in the internment camps, was a horrendous crime. Each time a work of art is returned to the rightful heirs, a step is made in what Martin Luther King Jr. referred to as the long moral arc of justice. Quote, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." End quote. The beauty of that curve reminds me of the geometry of the Bauhaus. Their art, often based upon shapes, was banned. But we have the ability to contribute to a shaping of history. Bauhaus means building house, and we have the responsibility and the right to choose what type of future we are building together. Thank you for joining me for this episode of History Stories. To find out more about my writing and my research, visit me at meganeasley-walsh.com. And you can find my novel, Framed, on Amazon. I look forward to sharing more history stories with you in the next episode.